Today, let's just get right into it. These 3 methods are going to save you so much time in your dating process that you need to learn it today and start changing the way you approach dating. The first one is going to be a filter list. What a filter list is basically you're going to have a needs and a wants list, write it out, memorize it, and this is how you're going to filter for who you should date. The whole thing about dating, the end goal, at least what I'm assuming, it was my end goal, so I'm assuming it's your end goal, is to find someone who's suitable for you long term. Humans do best with long term monogamous relationships. There's plenty of reasons for it. I can make a whole video about that if that's something you're interested in. Please let me know in the comments below. But basically, we are so inclined and geared toward relationships naturally. That's in our biology, and it's how we best set our lives up for long-term harmony. And because of that, dating without a list is kind of stupid. I look back at younger me and I didn't have these kind of frameworks to understand what is the purpose of dating, what should I be looking for, and how to actually apply such a framework or such a perspective to, dates. So, what a filter list could look like, I'll try to give an example. It could be, you want someone who has similar values as you. You want someone whose long term vision in life is similar to yours. You want someone who is hardworking. You want someone who intellectually understands you in a way that you're able to speak freely. Those were things that were kind of on my filter list. I didn't even make them in long words. I think I had 16 things on my list, but they were core values that I needed in a person, that if I met a person who had that, I knew that they could be a good long-term match for me. And because of that, it made dating so easy. It simplified the entire process to be actually enjoyable. I think a lot of people, they approach dating with this like negative mindset of like, oh my God, it's so much work. There's like no more good people, or like all of these like limiting beliefs. That's because you're in an unhealthy state of mind. But if you can shift your perspective to there's plenty of great people, I think personally I was a great catch. So if I thought I was a great catch, I knew that there would be an equivalent of my kind of person out there, and I just had to find them. So what a filter list does is it helps you to say, these are the things that would actually make me happy long term, and I don't have to waste my time if someone doesn't meet this. Younger me totally dated without like this kind of concept, and it would take 6 months to realize like, oh man, like that's kind of really misaligned and it's just not going to work out. And yeah, so number one method you need for dating is a filter list. Again, write it, memorize it, and basically memorize it to the point that when someone doesn't meet one of your requirements, you automatically shift them into the most we can ever be as friends. They are no longer a consideration for a long-term partner. And then secondly, the other part of that list, I also made a list of wants. And wants are like things that it's nice to have, but they're not completely necessary. I think it just kind of alleviates and it helps you differentiate when you're evaluating a person to know like, is this an absolute necessity or is it just something nice to have? And not making your decisions when evaluating, your options on like, oh, they have everything on your wants list, but they're missing something on your needs list. Like definitely prioritize your needs list. And, if there's 1 or 2 things on your wants list that they don't have, you can let it go. All right. The second framework is something that I came up with. I've never seen anyone else explain it. Basically, when I was in my early 20s, I did everything I could to learn everything possibly about dating. I listened to all the podcasts I could get my hands on. I searched for YouTube channels to teach me what I didn't know. I read books. Basically, I scavenged, the internet and what's out there for information about this really complex idea that it seemed to me at the time. And then I realized it was so simple. I applied, mathematical thinking to dating to basically make it like effortless. And that's what I'm going to teach you right now. Hopefully I don't lose you in the process. I try to simplify it as much as possible, but it is in terms of like math and like, for me personally, I love math. I think when you can reduce something to that kind of logical, this plus this equals that, it's just so beautifully intelligent in itself. So, anyways, the framework is AEIOU, the 5 vowels of the English language. And basically, you can think of it as that is the entire dating process. So let's go through each vowel. A stands for attraction. E stands for exchange. I stands for invitation. O stands for outing. U stands for understanding. And basically, you just got to rinse and repeat this until you make decisions. Dating in itself is just a series of deliberate decisions for yourself and, in relation to others. So A, attraction, it's the most important thing. The last step of this framework is what types of attractions you should understand that you're looking for. But attraction, if you're not attracted to a person and if that person is not attracted to you, if it's not mutual, it's a waste of time. Attraction is the basis of, long-term romantic relationships. You need to be attracted to the person. That person needs to be attracted to you. So that is the very first step. The other way I overlaid this kind of framework is on a funnel. So, you could think of A at the top and then each vowel after that going to the bottom. At each level, you would have less and less to think about and decide about. But yeah, so find someone you're attracted to is the first part. The second part is invitation. So invitation, that basically means how are you and this person connecting and how are you guys making plans to actually go on a date together? Is this person going to ask you out? Are you going to drop a hint and be like, hey, maybe we should hang out sometime? That is the next step to dating. It's really that simple. You find someone you're attracted to and the two of you decide maybe we should hang out. The third is actually going on an outing. So once someone gets invited, O stands for outing, and that means you guys actually go on a date. That's the whole dating part of dating. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. So after the date, we could talk about what happens. So AEIOU. Did I skip one? Oh, I guess I skipped the second one, and that's exchange. But exchange is basically just, talking. It's that whole buildup between, meeting and actually moving forward. So sorry, attraction, exchange, invitation, outing. We'll actually just skip to the last one because this one is arguably the most important. And again, if you're thinking about it as a funnel, this is the bottom of the funnel. But these decisions are actually the most important decisions because after the date, you have to evaluate and search for understanding about what did you gain out of that experience. So I don't believe there's ever any bad dates. I mean, actually, no, there are some bad dates that you're just like, waste of time. But you still always learn something. You learn this type of person I just could never see myself with. Or, wow, that trait that person had, I really, really admire it. And it's something that might considerably be on my needs list now. So that kind of an understanding about this whole dating process can help your filter list, but it can also help, the person you're actually dating. Basically, dating, it's just dates after dates after dates, more and more time together. And over that, at each, kind of point, you have to evaluate, do we keep going or do we cut our losses? And, is this not something worth investing in? So yeah, that's a framework that I think can help you if you think dating is really, really confusing. I'll make a free guide and link it in the description below if that's something that you need help with. I'll make this into a workbook so you can make a filter list, so you can understand how to actually do each of these steps in that dating process. And let's just get into the last method that you can use to, save yourself time in dating. And that is the 4 different types of attraction. So to remember the 4 different types of attraction, we're going to use the acronym PIES. So the first one is P, and that stands for physical attraction, because most people are disconnected from their instinctual side, but let's just remind ourselves that humans are just one type of animal on this planet, and our biology is always going to win. So physical attraction is definitely the first and foremost that you need to consider when you're considering a long-term mate, because you can either activate the good parts of our biology and use that to your advantage for long-term relationships, or you can ignore it and pretend like your mind is so powerful that it overrides biology, which, it's not. So yeah, first one is physical attraction. When you know that you're physically attracted to someone and they are physically attracted to you, then we can consider the second one, and that is intellectual attraction. So intellectual attraction, it really is being able to match and conduct conversations that are enjoyable to both of you. Talking is going to be pretty much the primary way that you connect to a person in a long-term relationship and maintain a daily relationship if it's a long-term partner that you're looking for. So that intellectual compatibility really comes down to, do you guys like to talk about the same things? And is it an easy flow of conversation? Can you go back and forth without feeling like you have to try so hard? And does this person have the intellect that you desire, as far as, if you're really into talking about politics or history or psychology, can they keep up with those type of conversations? Or if you're really into talking about stories and your day-to-day, are they, do they enjoy that pace? Do you enjoy what they talk about? Okay, so that's intellectual attraction. Third is emotional attraction. So emotional attraction, I think, could be summarized in one word, and that is safety, particularly emotional safety. And yeah, you just have to ask yourself, do you feel safe opening up to this person? When you're early in dating, you kind of don't have to touch that kind of stuff, but you could get a sense of like, oh, if I shared something with this person, I know that they wouldn't judge me. And if they shared something with me, I would never judge them. And that is that emotional attraction, that you can feel safe within their presence, within their ability to connect to you. And because you are going to continue to grow as a person, because you are going to go through good times and bad times, that kind of security and safety a person gives you shouldn't be taken for granted. So yeah, that is the next level of attraction that you can look for. And then lastly, and this is like, the cherry on top, if you're physically attracted to the person, you're intellectually attracted to the person, emotionally attracted to the person, the last thing you want to feel is that you're spiritually attracted to them. And what could that kind of mean? Really comes down to, that feeling of fate, or that feeling of serendipity, where the two of you are just a good match. It's natural. You don't have to try, those feelings that just tell you that, this is meant to be. And it takes more effort to resist it than it does to flow with it. I think are signs of spiritual attraction. And yeah, it's kind of like the top of like hierarchy of needs. Physical is at the bottom, intellectual is at the next, emotional is at the next, and then spiritual last. And yeah, so those are 3 methods that you can start using or thinking with, these frameworks, concepts of understanding to help you enjoy dating. Dating should be good. It should give you hope to a better future, to, your next steps in life. So yeah, if you have any questions and if I could clarify anything for you, please comment below and check the description for any links to free guides, free quizzes, articles, and tell me if you have any requests for future videos. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.